teleprompter broke this morning, so I have to use the old-fashioned way and read from a script. I was so mad because I'm getting used to it. It's great to just read. I feel like President Obama or President Trump and President Obama. Have you ever noticed that when you buy a used car or you buy a new car, you're so proud of your car that you kind of want to show it off to everyone? I know I do when I get a new car. Take a look at the interior, look at the leather, look at the shine on that baby. But after driving it around for probably less than a week, you start to notice how many of your models are out there on the road, especially if you drive on 195. Your car is not as special as you thought. Your baby looks like just about every baby out there. Our cars, our special car is pretty commonplace among the millions of them, including the color. And we laugh because the reality is that there hasn't been a sudden surge of the number of people who are driving these cars, and not everyone has run out and bought a car the same week that you did, but we become more conscious of what is really happening around us. We didn't see the forest for the trees before, but now we do. We tune in. When we're looking for something, we are more likely to see it. When we're looking for a certain kind of car, they're all over the place. When we're looking for something we know about, or a license plate, I know when I go up to New Hampshire, I get so bored in 3 hours, I start looking for license plates for Maine and New Hampshire and Massachusetts. When we look for something we know about, we're apt to see it. But when we're not looking at all, we're most likely going to miss it. And it's like that with Jesus for all of us, and it's like that in the gospel today. Today's gospel tells us of two people walking, two disciples on the way to Emmaus, not a superhighway, a dusty and dirty old road, and they know kind of what happened in Jerusalem, and they're pretty sad, and they're very confused, as they should be. They know what happened to Jesus, and they have heard these stories that he might be back, but they're not really sure if he's really back. This doubt and confusion in their minds is so in front of their eyes that they can't see, really, as I said, the forest for the trees. So much so that when Jesus was walking, he starts walking right next to them. They didn't even realize who he was. They were unconscious to him. But the reality would also be like these two on their way to Emmaus. A lot of us just don't have the eyes for Jesus sometimes, as much as we tend to see things as they are. Who would have expected Jesus to be walking on the road to Emmaus in the middle of nowhere? No one. But are we so different? We miss Jesus a lot in our everyday lives, in the really small things where he is. We are not conscious of him in our times of trials, in our times of sadness. Even the clergy miss the mark, not seeing Jesus in everyday small events, a child's birthday party, an anniversary, and sitting down with a clam boil with family, having a couple of beers. God is there as well. He just doesn't live in this room and we visit him once a week. That would be very easy. But God is everywhere. He's out on our boats when we're fishing. He's up in New Hampshire, definitely. I see him in the woods and in the animals. God is everywhere. Not just in church. We meet with him weekly to pay him special homage with the breaking of the bread. But my brothers and my sisters, God is everywhere. I do miss the small signs that Jesus is around me when I'm filling up the dumpster in the back, but he is. telling me, get rid of this, please, I'm tired of it. Get rid of the clutter. I miss the small signs as well. And I'm probably not the only one who misses these small signs. You probably have these moments too. We do miss this with people in our lives, and we make sometimes rash judgments about people. This person's never going to get it. This person is never going to get anywhere in life. This person can't make anything out of himself or herself. She's a drug addict. She's a woman of the night. He's a drunk. We make assumptions sometimes that are not true. True in our minds. And if we do it in the day-to-day things in our lives, we also do it with God. We do it with Jesus. We tell ourselves not to expect a miracle. Don't get your hopes up. We forget that God is very alive and working in a world that He created, not us. Sometimes we think we created it, men created it. Not a world created by us, but one by Him. We forget that as long as the song goes, that old song, that He does have the whole world in His hands. Make no mistake about that. He holds the universe. He has miracles in His hands as well, sometimes small ones. When the two disciples, got to the end of the road with Jesus, they sat and they had some lunch in a house at a table. They really didn't see Him to that point. Until He took the bread, as we will take at the Eucharist, and broke it and gave it to them, and finally their ignorance vanished. They saw Jesus in the breaking of the bread. They saw Him in the Eucharist. And sometimes we have blind moments when our eyes become open about people, about life, but especially about God. Sometimes we have these eureka moments when God is just so large we can't ignore Him. When our eyes for a short period of time are open, when our hearts are wide, and our consciousness are filled with Jesus. The disciples went from that place and they told everyone, the gospel tells us today, as Michael read. They went to the disciples who had just had their own experience of seeing Jesus and told the 11 what they saw. And together they shared the news that He, in fact, is back in the house. We must be the same as these two disciples after their journey with Jesus to Emmaus. We must tell the world that Jesus is with us still. In His Word, in the breaking of the bread, and even the small things of life like a cookout or a clam boil. He is with us. We strengthen one another when we look around and really see what is happening with the eyes of Jesus. We strengthen the church when we look around, not with the eyes that are looking for a certain car or a certain color or a certain model or make, but for Jesus. When we look at the world through Jesus' eyes, we find that we cannot help but see Him all around us. Everyone is filled with Jesus because everyone is a child of God. And when we find that, we can't keep it to ourselves any longer. We have to pronounce it to the world that He is alive. When we walk our way to Emmaus Road, may we dare to turn to those who are walking beside us and see the light of Christ in them as well. My brothers and sisters, do not look for God in the big things of life, for you may find Him on that short road, on that dusty road to Emmaus. Amen.